it's Janet Wakeland here with Remarkably Created, and tonight we're going to take a look at a brand new product suite that debuted today called Eden's Gardens. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to switch the camera right around because it's all about these new products, and I have a whole bunch of really fun samples and some great tips for you as part of our series on paper crafting tips. So this is designer paper that is specialty paper, and it is specialty paper because it has some gold foiling on one side of the paper. And I'm going to hold these prints up so you can get a look at them. I love that they feature soft succulent and evening evergreen, two of our beautiful in colors. So it's going to pull those greens in. We'll do just a couple quick full sheets for you. And it's just kind of got a real dainty, elegant feel to it. And then if we flip it over, you have some nice muted pieces and solid pieces that you're going to find to be extremely versatile. You're going to see some samples showcasing that versatility for you. So that's the designer paper in the suite. Then something new for us in this suite is something called cotton paper. This paper is thin. It is not as thin and pliable as tissue paper, but it is not as thick as, for example, our vellums and our linen paper or opalescent paper. It has the sheen on one side, and it does have a really cool, neat matte finish. What's interesting is the matte finish has a little bit of texture to it, and then the shiny side does have a little bit of shine to it. You're going to be able to tear it, to crumple it, to die cut it, to stamp on it, to emboss on it, all kinds of fun stuff. This is the only thing that I didn't create samples with tonight, but I've got a whole bunch of other ideas up my sleeve with it. So that's the papers in the suite. Then you have some beautiful embellishments. Who's my embellishment fiends? Where are those that love embellishments, right? So we've got lots of great embellishments that are like roaming all over the screen here. And then we have a stamp set, and we have dies to go with that stamp set. This is called Eden's Garden, and then you've got the dies. For your greetings, you have, dear friend, how are you? My heart is tied to you, tug if you need anything. I love that. It's just such a, like you can just feel that greeting. Hello there, sending hugs, and let's celebrate everything. And then you've got some great images. For your dies, you have a border piece that cuts a border along with stitching. You have a rectangle that has kind of just a little kind of a viney look to it. This piece here creates a label with a decorative end on each side. You have a small little decorative leaf, and then you have a larger rectangle with dies. So let me show you what those images look like when they are die cut out. So there's your large frame. There is your decorative label. You've got your pieces on each side. There is your other decorative rectangle. Here is the border. And then here is another border for you. What I love about this suite of products, the same thing that I love about all of our suites of products, is that you can simply hit the easy button and order everything that is cohesive and coordinated all at one time, and know that you have everything that mixes and matches right at your fingertips. But you can also order things individually, so you can get just the gems if that interests you, just the papers. The framelets work great alone. They do not cut out any of the images in the stamp, so they're a great standalone purchase. And then of course the stamp set can be purchased by itself, and then you can purchase the stamp and dies as a bundle. So I love those opportunities for purchasing with products like that. So the first thing that I want to point out to you is with the stamps. When you get stamps, a lot of times you don't necessarily pay attention to the images that are on the case cover. And if you look at the images here, you're going to see that this isn't a solid black image, that it looks like it's got some gray shading, some different gray gradient going on there. And it's one of our more realistic looking stamps. And so that means that that's exactly how it's going to stamp when you ink it up. And I want to just do that here for you so that you can see what I'm talking about and so that you're not surprised when it shows up. So here you can see that it gives off that light and dark. It automatically shades that image for you. So just one thing to be aware of with that image. Also some tips for you with the dies before we look at some samples. These are very, very intricate. You've got a lot of detailing on them. They not only die cut, but they also emboss. There's a lot of lines on them. Let me hold this one back up here for just a second up high and see if you can see the detailing. So it cuts and embosses. And because it cuts and embosses and it's very detailed, one of the things that I like to do is to make sure that I have a nice tight sandwich on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And then I usually like to run it through 2 to 3 times. But each time I run it through, I rotate it. One of the things with your Stamp Cut and Emboss, or if you're using the older Big Shot, is that over time, the tightness between the roller that's up underneath and the pad, that can start to change just a little bit. You're running different size thicknesses through it. Maybe you always run your dies through the exact same way. So I have found that to maximize the pressure straight across on that roller, with my intricate dies, if I shift it around as I roll it through, I get a good cut. Something else, because it is a little bit more intricate, you're going to see here that some of the paper is stuck in. You're going to want to make sure that you get all of that out, okay? Whenever you've got paper left in your die, you may not necessarily get a really, really good cut with it. And a couple of ways that you can do that. You can take the pointy end from the U-pick tool. You can also take the brush, and you can use the mat and roll it into the mat. But one of the things that I found is if I hold it up and roll it just against air, as crazy as that sounds, the bristles seem to be able to go in a little deeper and a little easier, and I can knock those pieces out. So you want to just make sure that you're getting all of those pieces out. This little bristle top here is an adapter that you can purchase to go with all the other adapters that are part of that U-pick tool. So that's another tip for you. So then, yeah, another tip for you with these dies. Let me just set these aside here for a second. I don't know about you, but I have those times when I am die cutting and, you know, for whatever reason, it sticks, it doesn't come out right. And so what you're going to find with these dies is that a lot of them can be used partially. You don't need the whole die to complete a look. So grab yourself just a little baggie or something, grab yourself a tiny little box. And if for some reason, again, they're only coming out partially, don't throw them away. I mean, you put the energy to run them through the die cut machine, right? And so make sure that you're saving them. And also with any dies, try them on different papers. I love them here with our beautiful in color glimmer papers. Those are a great coordinating product to have in your stash to work with the designer papers in Eden's Gardens. In addition, I really like them with our foil. And that's, again, another great product to have on hand in your crafting stash to coordinate with those foil papers. So let's take a look at a few cards as well to give you some more tips and to showcase some of the beautiful paper. So this one uses 3 of the patterns, and I simply used the triangle dies to cut 2 triangles from the designer paper, created a square with gold foil, left a little bit of space in the middle, created greeting, and here you can see I have just a tiny element of this piece right here coming up out of the top. And then I have a sweet birthday greeting, and then I have that border piece on that right here. So that's one sample. Another thing with your design, oops, it's upside down. With your designer papers, let me see if I can, I'll pull it out here in just a second. Sometimes you can break up the shininess of the paper, the kind of the intensity of the paper by actually running it through with an embossing folder. And so you can see how I've done just that with this paper here from the pack. Again, added some of that gold foil, thinking of you, just some little bits of pieces, and then a few embellishments to the card. So very rich, formal looking, thinking of you. Somebody's gonna think they're fancy. Created a Christmas card. I used the triangle dies again to kind of create the look of Christmas trees. Got two little extra elements. Together is the merriest place to be, and then some of our gold trim from our Simply Elegant trim bundle. So we've got that card. This one here showcases the stamps. Made a little Christmas card. It's always nice when you can take your stamps and you look at this and you don't see Christmas, but simply by playing with the colors and adding a greeting, you can create that feel of Christmas. And again, for me, adding value to my purchases by being able to use them for holidays that I maybe didn't think about definitely enhances the purchase for me. So in this case, I stamped, let me see if I can get it up under the camera real close for you, two of the different leaves, Mary Merlot and then Soft Suede. And then I embossed the larger flower in white, stamped the greeting in Mary Merlot, added our ribbon, and we've got a quick and easy card. The little frame piece is from the Hippo dies. This card here showcases just using pieces. Remember I told you saving those pieces and not necessarily using the whole thing. So in this case, I die cut a circle and I put adhesive the whole way around it, and I just started to layer pieces in a circle around that opening to create my wreath. And then I went ahead and Grateful for You, a little bow and a few extra flowers, and I'm off screen, somebody yell at me, and then just some of our matte mini dots. So just playing with those pieces and building up a frame. Now this paper, see if you can guess real quick looking at it, what's different about this paper. Let me find the original paper for you. And hold on a second. Of course, it's going to be the very last piece I look at, right? Isn't that how that works? Oh my goodness gracious, Janet. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So this is the original paper. Now let me pull my sample back in again. I outlined all of the leaves with our black Stampin' Write, the bullet point. And then I added a little edge with some of our black twine, added a black label, and then some black dots. So another fun little tip for you is it's real easy to alter your designer paper by stamping directly on it, by doodling on it, by sponging it, brayering, spritzing it, and you can really kind of just change the whole look of that paper. And by adding the black marker, it really allowed me to bring in black accents that maybe might not have paired with it as well or been too much of a stark contrast had I not outlined those leaves. Same token, you could go back in with the espresso. You might go back in with rich razzleberry. I'm thinking you could go even in with one of the blues like Misty Moonlight or something. And again, just outline those leaves in something besides basic black. So that's that one for you. This one here is another one of the papers. And in this case, I stamped and embossed directly onto the paper. There's no layering. The greeting is stamped and embossed, and the flower is stamped 3 times for a nice flat card, but still a really stunning, pretty card. And again, bringing that black in just made me feel comfortable adding the crumb cake. Another tip with your stamps is just using them repetitively over and over again. It makes for a real pretty impact, and it can make for a really quick card. So in this case, I just used our bumblebee and stamped that floral pattern. I inked it up each time. I didn't stamp it off. I wanted consistent coloring. I wanted it to be the same depth of color. I didn't want that shading effect, so I stamped it. I inked it each time I stamped it is what I'm trying to say. A little bit of the Cinnamon Cider designer paper. The pale papaya ribbon actually blends in really, really nice. Just a tiny little bit of contrast. It's like these two had a baby, so it's a great color contrast on that card. So just stamping repetitively. Then another fun, simple, and quick card for you. One more idea. This is using the encircled dies. I just simply stamped right in the center of my card with the early espresso. I created this circle. You actually saw this the other day when I did a paper crafting tip video on layering your dies, and create a little wider frame circle. Hello there. Very clean, very, very simple and quick card. And then for our last sample, oh no, did I already? Yeah. Nope, we haven't done this one. Sorry about that. So in this case, designer paper inside, and I embossed the flower in gold right on it. Added some of the embellishments from the pack, embossed the back. Again, that circle created a frame using 2 circle dies, sending hugs, a few little embellishments. And then if you'll look, I die cut the designer paper from the pack just because I wanted something that had a little bit more color to kind of tie back into the print back here. Just my little rationale, as opposed to something that might be really harsh or more monochromatic. So I wanted that soft succulent broken up just a little bit, and die cutting the paper worked great. So really, really fun card for someone who needs some hugs. And then for this card, it's not quite finished. I want to do a greeting, but in this case, I just wanted to show you what some of the leaves look like. And I just randomly stamped them. And what I did was I stamped them in rows. I just started at the top with my middle layer, and again, I did not stamp off. Each time I stamped, I put ink on the stamp. So I did my middle row, and then I started working on the rows to either side. When it was all done, I took the whitest brush from our aqua water painters, and I just wet the whole card down to kind of mute the whole look. This card, actually, I just die cut the end. So, and then tore it, and now we just need to finish it up. So lots and lots of possibilities, guys, with this new bundle. This bundle, again, debuted today. Little tip for you on November 4th, Stampin' Up's Demonstrator Starter Kit, instead of $99, will be $75. You'll still get $125 in product. You will still get free shipping. And any of the products that I showed you tonight could be included in that kit. If you have more questions about that special offer coming, if you would like ideas for products that might round out your craft stash at home, I would love to help you with those suggestions as well, so that you can maximize that $75. But I would love to have you take advantage of that special offer. It does incur no risk. You could simply, truly, and honestly take advantage of that offer and never do anything again. But at least for the next 5 months, you could save 20% by being your own best customer. And I would love to welcome you to my team of remarkable stampers. So if you have questions about any of the samples that I showed tonight, if you have questions about the products that I showed tonight, if you do not have a Stampin' Up! Catalog and live in the United States, trust me, you need a catalog. It's easy to shop online, but boy, it's so nice to have that book in your hand to use for inspiration. And if you have any questions about joining my team, just let me know about that. Connie, the products today that I'm showcasing debuted today. The special for joining begins on November 4th. So 2 days from now, or a day and a half at this point from now. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your interest in Stampin' Up! Products. Have a remarkable evening.